In the small, secluded town of Ravenswood, a dark and sinister cult had taken root, hidden from the prying eyes of the outside world. This cult, known only as the Historians, was unlike any other. Instead of worshipping ancient deities or supernatural entities, they revered the twisted history of the deadliest serial killers the world had ever known. The cult's lair was a decaying mansion at the edge of town, its ominous presence casting a long shadow over the community. Within its walls, the cult gathered to study the macabre stories of infamous murderers from decades past. They pored over old newspaper clippings, crime scene photos, and gruesome details of heinous acts, treating them as sacred texts that held the key to unlocking a higher understanding. As the cult delved deeper into the minds of these deranged killers, something sinister began to stir. The members became consumed by an insidious fascination with the methods and madness of those who had left a trail of terror in their wake. The cult's leader, a charismatic and enigmatic figure known only as Father Malachi, began to preach the gospel of the killers, convincing his followers that by replicating their acts, they could attain a higher plane of existence. The first signs of the cult's descent into madness emerged when a series of gruesome murders shocked Ravenswood. The crime scenes mirrored those of infamous serial killers, each murder meticulously executed to mimic the signature style of a different murderer. The townspeople were gripped with fear as whispers of a dark cult spread like wildfire. Detective Amanda Bennett, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for solving the most perplexing cases, found herself thrust into the heart of this nightmare. As she delved into the twisted world of the Historians, she uncovered a labyrinth of secrets that led her closer to the heart of the cult's malevolent activities. The cult, emboldened by the chaos they sowed, continued their horrific spree. Each murder became more elaborate and horrifying than the last. Father Malachi's influence over his disciples intensified, as they believed they were unlocking a hidden power by channeling the darkness of their idolized killers. Amanda, haunted by the brutality of the crimes and driven by an unrelenting determination, began to connect the dots. She discovered a pattern in the cult's actions, a ritualistic progression that hinted at a grand finale. The cult's endgame was approaching, and the stakes were higher than anyone in Ravenswood could have imagined. As the town teetered on the brink of chaos, Amanda raced against time to uncover the cult's final plan. The once quiet streets of Ravenswood were now filled with an air of palpable dread. The cult's malevolent influence reached far and wide, ensnaring even those who had once been skeptical of its existence. The climax arrived on a moonless night, as the cult gathered in a clandestine location for their grand ritual. Amanda, armed with the knowledge she had painstakingly pieced together, infiltrated the cult's lair. The mansion, now a den of darkness, echoed with the chanting of the cultists as they prepared to enact their twisted vision. In the heart of the mansion, Amanda confronted Father Malachi, a figure cloaked in shadows and madness. Their confrontation was a harrowing battle of wits and wills, each moment punctuated by the echoes of the cult's eerie chants. The cultists, frenzied by their devotion, closed in around Amanda and their leader. As the final moments of the ritual unfolded, Amanda uncovered the cult's true motive. They believed that by completing their macabre homage to the deadliest serial killers, they could summon a malevolent force that would grant them unimaginable power. The very fabric of reality seemed to tremble as the ritual reached its climax. In a desperate bid to stop the madness, Amanda confronted Father Malachi in a fierce struggle. The cultists, caught in the throes of their fanaticism, hesitated for a moment, giving Amanda the opportunity she needed. With a burst of strength and resolve, she disrupted the ritual, shattering the cult's delusions. Chaos erupted as the cultists, robbed of their misguided purpose, turned on each other. The once hallowed mansion became a battleground, its walls echoing with the screams of the deranged and the dying. Amanda fought her way through the madness, determined to put an end to the terror that had gripped Ravenswood. As dawn broke, the town lay in ruins, scarred by the dark legacy of the Historians. The cult had been dismantled, its members either dead or imprisoned, their grand plan thwarted by the tenacity of one detective. The once quiet town of Ravenswood would never fully recover from the horrors unleashed by the cult, but the nightmare had come to an end. Detective Amanda Bennett, scarred by the ordeal, haunted by the memories of the gruesome crimes, stood amidst the ruins. The echoes of the cult's madness lingered, a chilling reminder of the thin line between fascination and madness. The history of the deadliest serial killers had been a dark chapter in the town's story, one that would forever be etched in blood and shadows. In the aftermath of the cult's demise, Ravenswood became a town shrouded in a collective sense of unease. The once close community was now fractured, trust eroded by the revelation that some of their neighbors had been part of the dark underbelly that lurked beneath the surface. Whispers of the cult's influence lingered like a spectral presence, and the town's residents found themselves glancing over their shoulders, unsure if the shadows concealed remnants of the malevolent force. Detective Amanda Bennett, scarred both mentally and emotionally by the ordeal, couldn't escape the nightmares that plagued her sleep. The faces of the cultists and the grisly crime scenes invaded her dreams, a relentless reel of horror that refused to let her find solace. Despite the successful dismantling of the historians, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that the darkness still clung to Ravenswood. As the seasons changed, so did the atmosphere in the town. A heavy fog seemed to settle, casting a perpetual gloom over Ravenswood. The townspeople, once resilient, now lived with a lingering fear, an awareness that the line between sanity and madness was thin. Some chose to move away, seeking solace in the anonymity of distant cities, while others remained, determined to rebuild their shattered community. However, the legacy of the historians was far from buried. Strange occurrences began to unfold in Ravenswood, eerie symbols painted on walls, unsettling whispers in the night, and reports of shadowy figures moving in the periphery of vision. The townspeople, already on edge, couldn't escape the feeling that the cult's malevolent influence still lingered, like a sinister residue that clung to the very fabric of their lives. Amanda, despite her efforts to move on, found herself drawn back into the darkness that had gripped Ravenswood. A series of seemingly unrelated incidents hinted at a resurgence of the cult's influence. The detective, fueled by a relentless determination to protect her town, reopened the investigation, determined to uncover any remnants of the historians that might have eluded her grasp. The trail led Amanda to cryptic symbols etched in hidden corners of the town, a language that only those initiated into the cult would understand. As she delved deeper, she discovered that some cultists had managed to evade capture, blending back into the community while secretly perpetuating their twisted beliefs. The revelation sent shivers down Amanda's spine, realizing that the true depth of the cult's reach was far more insidious than she had initially thought. The resurgence of the historians brought a renewed sense of terror to Ravenswood. The cultists, driven by a fanatical devotion to their dark cause, began to execute a series of ritualistic murders reminiscent of the original spree. The town, still reeling from the trauma of the past, found itself plunged into a new wave of fear and paranoia. Amanda, grappling with her own demons, raced against time to unravel the mysteries that had resurfaced. As she closed in on the cult's remaining members, she faced challenges that tested her sanity. The boundary between reality and nightmare blurred, and she questioned whether the malevolent force that had fueled the historians was something that could ever truly be vanquished. In the dead of night, Amanda confronted the cult's leader, who had managed to elude capture. The final showdown unfolded in the same decaying mansion that had once housed the historians. The air crackled with tension as Amanda and the cult leader engaged in a battle of wills, each determined to shape the town's fate. The climax of the confrontation revealed a chilling truth. The cult's resurgence had been orchestrated by a force far beyond the comprehension of mere mortals. The town of Ravenswood had become a nexus of darkness, attracting malevolent energies that fed on the fear and suffering of its inhabitants. As Amanda confronted this otherworldly force, she realized that the battle against the historians was not just a fight against a human cult, but a struggle against a supernatural entity that had latched onto the town's dark history. In a desperate act, Amanda unleashed a power within herself that she never knew existed, a force that repelled the malevolent entity and banished it from Ravenswood. The aftermath left the town in a state of desolation. The cult's remnants were eradicated, but the scars on Ravenswood ran deep. Amanda, now marked by the supernatural forces she had faced, chose to leave the town behind, haunted by the memories of the horrors she had witnessed. Ravenswood, once a picturesque haven, stood as a testament to the thin veil between the mundane and the macabre. The townspeople, forever changed by the darkness that had touched their lives, struggled to rebuild and find a semblance of normalcy. The legacy of the historians, a chapter written in blood, lingered in the whispers of the wind and the creaking of the decaying mansion, a chilling reminder that some horrors, once unleashed, never truly fade away. Years passed, and Ravenswood slowly began to heal from the wounds inflicted by the historians. The once dreaded mansion at the edge of town stood as a dilapidated relic, a stark reminder of the darkness that had gripped the community. The remaining residents, scarred but resilient, worked together to rebuild their lives and restore the town's sense of normalcy. Detective Amanda Bennett, having left Ravenswood behind, continued her journey on a path less haunted. The shadows of the past lingered in the corners of her mind, but she sought solace in a new beginning. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that the malevolent force she had faced in Ravenswood might not be confined to the town alone. It whispered to her in moments of solitude, a chilling reminder that the darkness was not easily vanquished. Rumors persisted about the events that had transpired in Ravenswood, attracting the curious and the intrepid. Ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts flocked to the town, drawn by the tales of the historians and the supernatural forces that had been unleashed. The mansion, now a site of macabre fascination, became the subject of numerous chilling legends, further entwining Ravenswood's history with the ominous. As the years went by, a quiet unease settled over Ravenswood. Locals exchanged knowing glances when the mansion was mentioned, and children whispered tales of spectral cultists haunting the town's outskirts. The scars of the past had not faded entirely, and the community lived with a collective awareness that the thin line between reality and nightmare could blur once more. One fateful night, a group of thrill-seekers ventured into the decaying mansion, armed with cameras and ghost-hunting equipment. As they explored the dark corridors and dilapidated rooms, they unknowingly awakened something dormant. The malevolent force that Amanda had banished from Ravenswood stirred, drawn by the curiosity and fear of the trespassers. Strange occurrences intensified in the town, echoing the events of the past. Unexplained phenomena, eerie whispers, and chilling symbols appeared once more, sending a ripple of dread through the community. The survivors of the historian's reign, who had thought they left the nightmare behind, found themselves facing a new manifestation of darkness. The remaining residents, hardened by their past experiences, knew they couldn't confront this malevolent force alone. In a reluctant alliance, they sought out Amanda Bennett, the detective who had once faced the horrors of the historians. Reluctantly drawn back to Ravenswood, Amanda joined forces with the town's resilient few to confront the supernatural entity that had returned to haunt their lives. The battle against the malevolent force was even more harrowing than before, as the line between the tangible and the otherworldly blurred. Amanda, guided by an inner strength she had discovered in her previous ordeal, faced the entity with unwavering determination. The townspeople, united by a shared past, fought alongside her, determined not to let their home be consumed by darkness once again. In a climactic confrontation within the decaying mansion, Amanda and the survivors channeled their collective strength to banish the malevolent force for good. The air crackled with energy as they confronted the supernatural entity, armed with the knowledge that only unity and resilience could triumph over the shadows that sought to engulf them. As the entity dissipated, Ravenswood experienced a profound stillness. The town, having weathered the storms of both human and supernatural horrors, stood on the precipice of a new beginning. The survivors, scarred but resolute, gazed at the decaying mansion with a sense of closure. Ravenswood, once a town haunted by the darkest chapters of its history, emerged from the shadows with a newfound strength. The mansion, stripped of its spectral resonance, stood as a testament to the resilience of its residents. The scars of the past would always be a part of Ravenswood, but the collective spirit of those who had faced the darkness together would shape the town's future. As Amanda Bennett walked away from Ravenswood, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The town, though forever marked by its chilling history, had found a way to defy the ominous forces that had sought to claim it. The whispers in her mind grew quieter, and Amanda, guided by the lessons learned in the crucible of darkness, moved forward into an uncertain but hopeful future. Ravenswood, a town that had stared into the abyss and emerged stronger, stood as a testament to the indomitable spirit that could triumph over the most malevolent forces. The legacy of the historians, once a dark stain on the town's history, became a story of resilience and triumph, a tale whispered in the wind, a cautionary fable that reminded the world that even in the face of unspeakable horror, light could prevail over darkness.
Like, subscribe, and click on notifications that will allow you to stay up to date with the news and not miss videos from the channel, where there will be many more horror stories.